I stared at the banking app glowing on my phone, hearing my father's words echo from 4 years ago. No more money until you get a real job like your sister. No child of mine is going to waste their life gambling on tech nonsense. Now, at 30, I sat in my glass-walled office overlooking the Chicago skyline from the 58th floor of the Helios Tower. I wasn't gambling. I was running a $14,800,000,000 zero-cents private equity firm that specialized in acquiring distressed financial institutions. And no, my family had no clue. They probably thought I was working some junior analyst job, finally learning responsibility, as Mom liked to say. Ms. Rivera, my assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. The First Meridian report just came in. First Meridian Bank, the crown jewel of my father's legacy and my family's pride. Dad had been a senior board director there for 22 years. My older sister Claire was their VP of Strategic Partnerships, and every family gathering was basically a love letter to that institution. "Send it in," I said, already anticipating what I'd find. The report didn't disappoint. My analysts had been right. First Meridian was rotting from the inside out. Bad debt exposure, obsolete infrastructure, hemorrhaging clients who wanted digital banking solutions my father's board refused to adopt. Their stock had been sliding quietly for months, and my family, arrogant and blind, had ignored every red flag. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. "Sunday dinner, 6 p.m. Unless you're too busy with that little investing hobby of yours to see your real family." I smirked. 6 months since my last dinner, and I didn't miss the routine humiliation sessions. Claire bragging about her deals while Mom dropped hints about suitable banking men I should marry. I tapped my headset. "Claire," I said, speaking to my CFO this time, "where do we stand on First Meridian?" "Through our offshore entities, we control 49.3%, she replied. "One more acquisition block and we've got majority." "And the board?" "Still assuming the purchases are coming from scattered small investors." Perfect. I thought of all those dinners when Dad complained about annoying minority shareholders. He never realized I was the one outmaneuvering him piece by piece. "They've scheduled an emergency shareholder meeting next Thursday," Claire added. "They're desperate to secure new capital. The CEO wants the mysterious Miss Vega to attend." Ms. Vega, my maternal grandmother's last name. The identity I'd used to build an empire in total secrecy. I leaned back in my chair, the Chicago skyline gleaming like a silent accomplice. 4 years ago, I started with what was left of my trust fund, what they thought I'd squander. I turned it into the most aggressive and successful rescue fund in the Midwest. "Execute the final buy-in," I said, 10 minutes before the meeting. A slow smile spread across my face. Time to introduce the family to Miss Vega. I want to walk in there owning 51% of First Meridian Bank. "Your family will be there," Claire reminded me. "Your father's position on the board." "We'll review every seat once I take control," I interrupted. "Including his." My phone buzzed, a message from my older sister. Claire's name twin, but definitely not my ally. "Hey, little sis, heard you're still playing investor. Want me to get you a real job at the bank? Maybe as my assistant?" I exhaled slowly, remembering the day they cut me off. Dad slamming his fist on the mahogany table, shouting about throwing away a Harvard degree on tech trash. Mom, sobbing into her pearls, whispering about shame. My sister smug, promising to help me find direction. "Claire," I said, standing up, "get the takeover team ready and have my car brought around. I need to go shopping." "Shopping?" she asked, arching an eyebrow. If I'm about to dismantle my family's illusion of superiority, I plan to do it in a perfect outfit. After all, First Meridian Bank was about to discover their biggest threat wasn't a faceless Wall Street raider. It was the daughter they'd written off as a failure. The boardroom glowed with sleek glass and desperate energy. Through the tinted walls, I saw Dad adjusting his cufflinks like a nervous tell, while my sister leaned in, pretending to matter among real decision-makers. Mom perched in the observer section, scanning faces, probably still hoping to introduce me to some respectable banking gentleman. "Mrs. Vega's representatives have arrived," the CEO announced, voice tight with unease. No one had ever seen the mysterious investor who'd been swallowing their stock like a quiet hurricane. I glanced at my phone. 9:50 IEMED. 10 minutes until the final acquisition block hit. My team was already in motion, offshore wires clearing as we spoke. That's a stunning Dior suit, someone whispered when I slid into a rear seat. Are you here with a board member? I smiled faintly. How many times had I been underestimated in rooms like this? Something like that. 10 o'clock, I'm in sharp. My phone buzzed. Claire's message flashed in bold letters. 51% confirmed. You own First Meridian Bank. The CEO stepped to the podium, clearing his throat, trying to command calm. Before we begin, I'd like to address speculation about our recent stock performance. Actually, I said, rising, heels striking marble like a gavel. The room hushed. Conversations died mid-sentence. My father froze, hand lingering on his cuffling. I believe the agenda has changed. Every head swiveled. My mother's hand flew to her throat. My sister's smug smile shattered like glass. I walked to the front, each step deliberate, my voice steady as I turned to face the men who once told me I'd amount to nothing. Good morning, I said. I'm Miss Vega, and as of 10 minutes ago, I own this bank. Dad's face shifted from confused to shocked, then drained of color like ink bleeding from paper. My sister's smug smile faltered, then shattered completely. Elena? She stammered. What are you doing here? This is a shareholders' meeting. I know. I handed the CEO a slim leather folder. As of 10 minutes ago, I said calmly, I own 51% of First Meridian Bank. These documents confirm the transfer of controlling interest to my fund. The CEO's hands trembled as he scanned the paperwork. This can't be. Mrs. Vega, I presume? One of the senior directors asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Ms. Vega is one of my holding companies, I replied, walking toward the head of the polished mahogany table. My name is Elena Rivera, CEO of Vega Capital Partners, though some of you might remember me as the daughter who needed to get serious about life. Behind me, Mom made a strangled sound, her manicured fingers clutching the edge of her pearl necklace like a rosary. Dad looked like he'd seen a ghost. This is absurd, he rasped. My sister shot to her feet. Elena plays around with apps and blocks. She's not. Your new boss? I finished for her, my voice slicing the room's silence. With a tap on the tablet in my hand, the screen behind me lit up with Vega Capital's portfolio. $14,800,000,000, 0 cents in managed assets, I announced. Specializing in banking acquisitions and turnarounds, rated as one of the most effective private equity firms in the country. Every pair of eyes fixed on the glowing slide deck, a list of banks, some iconic, some obscure, each rescued from collapse and transformed into market leaders. Dad's grip tightened on the table as familiar competitor names flashed across the display. The same names he'd mocked as doomed. Now, I said, turning back to the board, let's address First Meridian's so-called digital strategy, or rather, the complete absence of one. A nervous cough broke the silence. My sister scrambled for composure. We have a strategy. You have an app, I cut in, that crashes weekly and has security holes a teenager could exploit. Your loan approvals still require actual paper. And your customer acquisition? Bleeding clients to fintech startups because you think Twitter is a passing trend. The CEO cleared his throat. Ma'am, perhaps we should discuss this privately. Oh, now you want to talk to me? I let the words hang in the air like a verdict. 6 months ago, when my fund suggested modernization, you dismissed us as kids who don't understand banking. Dad finally found his voice. Elena, honey. Mr. Rivera, I said crisply, cutting him off without turning. During official meetings, the majority shareholder is addressed formally. The silence was deafening. I smiled, leaning forward. Now, shall we begin? If you want to see what happens when I confront my family after taking their bank, make sure you subscribe, because the next chapter will leave you speechless. We can do family titles at Sunday dinner, if I'm still invited, that is. Mom sat frozen in the observer's chair, her fingers trembling over her phone screen. She was probably texting her country club friends about her daughter's overnight transformation from hopeless case to the woman who just bought their bank. The first order of business, I said, opening my sleek MacBook, is a full review of all executive positions, including, of course, the board of directors. My sister's face drained from red to ghost white. Dad's hands curled tighter around the table's mahogany edge. But before that, I smiled sweetly, would anyone here like to revisit the definition of a real job? A silence, thick as concrete, settled over the boardroom. As in favor of adopting the complete digital transformation plan, I raised a brow. Every hand went up, even my sister's, though her arm trembled like a leaf in a hurricane. 2 hours later, the old guard of First Meridian Bank had been systematically dismantled. My father sat in rigid silence, his decades of traditional banking wisdom erased line by line, policy by policy. Excellent, I said, snapping my laptop shut. The transition team starts tomorrow. Expect emails with your revised roles. In the corner, Mom clutched her pearl-encrusted phone like a lifeline. The last message I glimpsed on her screen before the meeting ended read, "Cancel dinner with Evan. My daughter apparently owns banks now." "Meeting adjourned," I announced. "Except for the Rivera family, we have some private matters to resolve." As the last executive filed out, my sister made a desperate move toward the door. "Another meeting?" "Sit down, Claire," I said quietly. "Your calendar just cleared." "Indefinitely." When the room emptied, silence fell like a guillotine. Dad stared into the polished mahogany, seeing something he couldn't fix with status or money. Mom dabbed her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Claire looked like she might be sick. 3 years, I began, my voice steady. 3 years of hearing, "When will you get a real job?" 3 years of being the family embarrassment. 3 years of listening to Claire brag about her VP title, while I was buying the bank out from under you. "Sweetheart," Mom started softly, "we just wanted to control me, to shove me into your version of success." I swiped my screen, pulling up First Meridian's financials on the towering display. "While you were busy playing country club royalty, this bank was bleeding out. Your so-called traditional values nearly killed a 100-year-old institution." Dad finally found his voice. "We were protecting our legacy." "No," I said coolly. "You were clinging to the past while the future happened without you. Do you know why I built Vega Capital under Mom's maiden name?" Blank stares. "Because the Rivera name mattered more to you than your own daughter's ambition." Claire swallowed hard. "So this is revenge." I leaned in, my heels echoing like a countdown. "No, sister, this is reality, and I own it now. Taking over the bank to punish us." Claire's voice cracked like glass. I laughed softly. "Revenge? No, sister, I just saved your career." Her brows knitted. "Saved?" In 6 months, First Meridian would have collapsed. My fund has been the only thing propping up your stock price for the past year. "That's impossible," Dad barked. His voice carried the same arrogance I'd grown up hearing. "We would have known." I tilted my head. "Like you knew your daughter was running a $14,800,000,000 zero-cent investment firm? Face it, Dad, you stopped seeing clearly a long time ago." Mom dabbed fresh tears from her cheeks. "All those dinners you skipped." "I was busy buying your bank," I said simply. "Besides, Mom, it's hard to enjoy family dinner when everyone at the table treats you like a failure." Silence settled like dust. Finally, I stood, smoothing the lapel of my charcoal suit. "Here's how this works going forward." Dad stiffened as I laid it out point by point. "Dad, you keep your board seat as chairman emeritus. It's just a title, no voting power, but it'll look good on your holiday cards." He opened his mouth, but no sound came. "Claire," I continued, turning to my sister, "you're being reassigned to our digital banking division. Entry-level training program. Time to learn what modern banking actually looks like. From the bottom up." Her jaw dropped. "You can't." "I can," I said, my voice cool as steel. And I just did. And me? Mom asked, her voice trembling like a leaf in wind. You can keep planning your country club dinners. Just stop trying to set me up with banking executives. I slid my laptop into my bag. I prefer not to date my employees. Gathering my things, I felt lighter than I had in years. But I paused at the door, turning back. Oh, and about Sunday dinners? Anything, Mom said quickly, desperate for a foothold in this new reality. We rotate locations, I said. My penthouse is perfect. Floor-to-ceiling windows with a panoramic view of every bank I own, including this one. As I walked away, Dad's voice broke through the tension. Elena, when? When did you become so powerful? I stopped, looking over my shoulder. Memories of countless dinners, me silent, them smug, flashed through my mind. I always was, I said softly. You just never bothered to notice. The elevator doors slid shut behind me with a satisfying chime. I checked my phone, dozens of missed calls, family members who suddenly discovered their so-called failure had become a financial powerhouse. A new message from my CFO, also named Claire, the only Claire I trusted. Next target acquired, another family-owned bank on the brink. A slow smile tugged at my lips. I typed back, perfect. Schedule a cleaning service for my penthouse. I'm hosting Sunday dinner this week. Time to show them what their hobby investor has built. After all, success isn't about proving your family wrong. It's about redefining success on your terms. And letting them choke on their outdated version. Because revenge? That's sweet. But real, undeniable success? That tastes even better. Especially when served with a side of humble pie on my dining table, overlooking the empire they never saw coming. What do you think? Did I make the right move? I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was I too bold, or did I do what anyone in my position should have done? My journey wasn't just about buying a bank, it was about reclaiming respect, rewriting the narrative my family tried to script for me, and proving that dreams aren't defined by anyone else's approval. Your voice matters here. If you've ever felt underestimated, overlooked, or pushed into someone else's version of success, tell me your story. Let's build a community of people who know what it feels like to fight for their worth. And if you believe in standing up for yourself, even when the odds feel stacked against you, hit that subscribe button, because what's coming next? It's bigger than one family dinner. Here's my advice to you. Never let someone else's limited vision dictate the size of your dream. The people who call you unrealistic today might be the same ones Googling your name tomorrow. Take the risks, trust your instincts, and build something that speaks louder than their doubts. Every missed dinner, every dismissive comment, every eye roll, they all became fuel, not for revenge, but for results. And that's what I want for you. To take their doubt and turn it into undeniable proof that you were always capable. So comment below, what would you have done if you were in my shoes? And subscribe if you're ready for the next chapter. 'Cause trust me, this story isn't over. The next takeover will change everything. And I want you right there with me when it happens.